make them win. Nah, make them win. Nah, make them win. Tell them start back from the beginning. Now make them win.
Sue, why are you here? You're my co-host.
Just co-hosting. You don't have to be penetrated to consider yourself violated. And let me share this piece as part of my 5 minutes. I wrote this book, and this was written in April 2012. And this was when I started to deal with really coming to terms with some of what I've gone through since childhood. And why this came about was there was a spat in Jamaica where there were just a lot of reports about children, sexual abuse and killings. And I was home in Florida, and I'm reading these things on a daily basis, and I was getting so annoyed and I'm getting upset. And there was this incident where a child, I think it could have been one, the child was one, where the child died. 18 months old. 18 months old. Very, 18 months old. And I remember I was having breakfast the morning when I was reading it, and my whole body just froze. I couldn't eat anything else, and everything started to come to me, and I just can't imagine an 80-month-old and going through that. And so some of my own memories started to flood, and this is one of my own memories of molestation started to come forward. And this piece was one that I wrote right there that morning at the breakfast table, April 2012, and it's called Saved and Sanctified. That night as I slept, waking to feel his naked body trying to force itself on me, as I tried to scream, and as he placed his hands over my mouth, silencing me, I could see that he was so-called saved, sanctified, and filled with something. That day as I mourned the passing of my father, who never proclaimed to be saved and sanctified, whom I adored. That day, he came offering condolences, grief counseling. As I cried in his arms, I felt his hands begin to explore the contours of my young, fragile body in a manner I felt and knew was inappropriate. As I pulled away, I could see that he too was saved and sanctified. Then, there was the dreaded day. The day I saw that glare. I had just stepped out of the shower, femininity all exposed, when I saw, there in the doorway, blocking any chance of escape, our eyes made four. I saw fire, and he saw desire. I felt fear. Naked, manhood erect, I saw the devil incarnate. He glared, he growled, "Don't worry, I'll make it worth your while." That's when I fought with all I had and ran, clothes in hand, and sought refuge, crying uncontrollably. That last, I must say, first of all, unlike Julie and Larissa, probably Keisha, the persons who molested me were always persons outside of my family. So I never had a problem with the family. They were always older men of academia, of power, status, and sometimes, yes, sometimes men of the cloth, my girls, my heart goes out to you. Please learn not to blame yourselves. You've done nothing wrong. You've not worn the wrong clothes. You've not been in the wrong place. You've not been too friendly. You've not been too cute. No, it's not about you. It's about perceived power. It's about their weakness. It's about their lustful desires. It's about them. They do nothing for you. Even when they assure you they'll make it worth your while. I know. Seems there's nowhere to go. Those in authority question your integrity and pour salt in the wound. So where do you turn? I turn to paper. I write. I turn to the Bible. I read. I turn to God. So again, it's about molestation. I can say I was never, and I think it had to do with the strength of will that I had, that I was never penetrated because I was given each time to fight my way off because I knew, I felt in that it was wrong. And even though these were men that I put on pedestal, men that I looked up to, I give thanks that I never had to go to that, but the pain still wreaks havoc inside.
I did not know.
Yeah.
When she said she wanted to come to Jamaica, I said I wanted you here as a balanced person inside the group of us.
A lot of men don't know. A lot of men don't know that the women they're married to, their sisters, their aunts, their mothers have been abused. And I think part of this conversation is about that. But I think it's also important to know that I think there's a clear demonstration that the feelings are still alive, just the emotions that all of us, myself included, are feeling at this moment. The feelings are still alive. And for some women, looking forward is the solution. Focus on the future. Rebuilding your life around something that's positive. And so what you're doing, part of narrative therapy, which is part of the work that we do in the project as well, is to get the feelings on paper and make a career out of being a writer or a musician. And I think Keisha's song is very powerful, and her own story is about how she took all that pain and created music, and music that can be shared by others. So now might be a good time to hear that music.
Mama would listen. Auntie never listen. Try to tell my sister, but she never listen. But this is healing time. And you don't have to do it anymore. Just stand firm. Whole heap of things on my face and no talk about. In a life. Stand up and watch me that they come. Now make them win. Now make them win. Tell them to get over it. But until now, me still can't recover it. Now make them win. Now make them win. Now make them win. Nothing, nobody never do one thing. Now make them win. Now make them win. Now make them win. Tired of being a victim. Still searching for brighter days. But this must be multiplying on my dirty ways. Wish me could have erased it right away. Got the ear when them in and me never play. I know me wonder if them understand that the things that they do make you malfunction. Head twisted like crossroads and junction. Make you feel like as if you would have jumped from. Now make them win. Now make them win. Now make them win. Nothing, no one never do one thing. Now make them win.
You know, the first time I sent out this flyer about a month ago, or a little bit more than a month, I got back a couple of emails questioning whether or not I, as a man, should be conducting something. And it threw me for a loop because, to be honest with you, I wasn't even thinking about that. I wasn't thinking about that type of implication. And I responded to the person by asking, what do you mean? One of the persons. And she said, you're a man. You know? And I guess I'm supposed to understand that. But subsequently, I asked questions of friends of mine, and I, what does that mean, you know? I guess that would have assumed that every Jamaican man would do this.
I don't mean to.
Please.
I don't think it's necessarily every Jamaican man,
Yes.
but that because you're a man, you would understand. Because it's such a fragile topic. You know, women tend to process emotions different from men. As they say, you know, people say, oh, it's just a little sex, you won't do anything. And females look at things different other than how males look at it. So maybe the person think it's a little too fragile for you if you're not that type of person who's gonna get so deep into that you understand the pain from all sides. So maybe that's why. Not to say that you can't
Yes.
have the discussion with us, but how deep would you understand what we're feeling?
You guys agree with that?
So that's what it is.
But I think also too there's this expectation of the brotherhood protection, right? So you're lifting that veil. You're ripping that mask off, saying, listen, men in particular. I'm not saying that women aren't perpetrators, because we know women are predators too. But again, for the majority, it's the males who prey on young kids. So for you, sort of, in a way, betraying that implied brotherhood, that can't be cool.
Well, I do wrong. I don't betray you by bringing it forward. And so I understand what you're saying, but as long as you are not doing the things that I consider to be just and right, whatever I do, I am not betraying you. I'm holding up the fire for men who do that. You know what I mean?
That's what she's
Yeah,
saying.
but I understand
Maybe it's that
you know?
case because you know you have
Right.
what do they call it, gentleman's club.
Yes, I do understand. So I
You're supposed to
understand.
step out as a man and take the side of
So
women
even
in a
so,
certain situation.
more so now, I actually commend you for doing this because one of the things that I think needs to be brought to the light is that you said earlier you didn't know, you had no idea this was happening at such a rampant rate. But one of the things we need, as Julie said, yes, there are women that are molesters, but of course the vast majority are men. One of the things we need is for men to be more vocal and for men to come out in the forefront and to support the women, support the women, support the men against the other that are doing this. And that's the only way we're actually going to break cycles and to stop this nonsense.
To his defense, could I just say, 2 years ago we started, there's another organization here that I do support because I'm an advocate for young people. When I went to Leo, he really, as he's showing now, didn't understand the magnitude of what was happening. He said, Sue, I'll do it. What do you need me to do? I'll come on board. How can I help with Grenadiers? And so this is where I think that's where that piqued his curiosity. Again, commending you for this. But that's you know, you step out of the box all the time, and that's good. We need more like you and just continue to help us. today, I'm hoping that it's not just about hearing our stories, but that there's an entity. Somebody is empowered. Somebody's starting their healing process. Somebody's understanding so much. I mean, the diversity of the experiences that have been expressed here. But pain is pain. Pain is pain. And so whatever it is, I for myself, I can speak about as a child being withdrawn, being misunderstood, like your daughter who didn't want to go into that home. I didn't want to go. I don't want to go. Why you don't want to go over there? So I kept all that in.
So this is your first time saying, because I've never heard. I've known you for how many years now, and I had no clue that this happened to you. I didn't understand why you had to go to the campaign, go to the still, you know.
Yes, this is my first time explicitly speaking about my experience. I've written about it.
My next question is going to be, has your life changed? A stupid question, right? As a result of this. And if it has changed, what is it that you think is very different now than what it would have been if you could recreate it? Does that make sense to you? Is that a good question? You understand it? All right, so I want to hear from...
Yeah, I said for the first time, how do you feel? No. Something that you had inside of you there that you have just released.
I feel light.
Yes. So the feelings that were buried just been released. And you also made 2 points about writing, which is part of the narrative therapy that we do with the ladies. And they have written their stories.
It's just as quickly, it's very powerful because I'm looking at Keisha now. It's a very different posture because she can relate to the music. It's like it's out there. But before, it was much more.
Come on, you'd be like, Keisha is the happiest person. Keisha like the star of the class. Nobody would have known if they had not heard that song.
Yes.
I thank God for music, honestly. Talent that he gave me to actually be this creative with lyrics and I said damage, but damaged people tend to be more creative than the damaged.
So you are attributing your creativity to your music right now?
So I'm just saying, it's not a good experience for anybody at all to have.
Right.
But it's like every time I hear this song, it's like I'm not reliving the whole thing,
Right.
but hearing myself expressing the whole situation and then I see the reaction of people and I'm like, oh my God. It's empowering. It's like me speaking, giving them a chance to just be relieved, as this lady said, of all that they have been through. For me, like, music saved my life, literally. Music saved my life. My journey from here is just to move on. I would change a lot of things. I probably would speak up more, as everybody would say, like say something to somebody. But the society that we're in, as they say, it's not a palatable topic. When you try to speak about stuff like that, nobody wants to hear it. You know, forget it and move on. And it's not that easy. You understand me? So I'm better off now that I have met all these lovely They helped me out. Dr. Rosalie, she's like, I said she's my fairy godmother. So, you know, I have to give kudos to her. USA, I Fi Mi Jamaica. Like, if I didn't enter that program, don't know where I'd be right now. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. So,
In short, I think maybe if I hadn't gone through this experience, I think if I had gone through life, I probably wouldn't change anything because I'm happy with where I am today and what I'm able to do. But I probably would be something like a neuroscientist or something. I think I would be because only because because I had to mask so much and to endure so much and hold so much in, I acted out in a lot of ways, and one of the main ways in which I acted out was not applying myself to my schoolwork academically. And so, I mean, for most of my life, I was considered a failure, and, you know, I'm not going to get anywhere. And I felt like it, and, you know, there are people around who heard it, so I kind of took it on. And that's it. I just think that if I hadn't gone this way, and as I said, I'm happy with it, I still managed to come through. I am Dr. Davis. And if I could get this far, having gone through that, and where I am, yes, I probably would have been an astronaut.
Not too late.
She's retired. Emeritus. Let me hear you.
Well, I can't say like, I don't know if I can say I'm happy this happened to me, because I am not. I wish I was spared the experience. I wish, and even if not my experience, I still struggle as much as I'm journeying to my freedom. The image that I have stuck in my head, that no writing, no therapy, nothing can remove the image of my baby sister from my head. So even that, I wish that part of it just never happened. Being sexually abused as a child changes the entire trajectory of your life. There is no way you can have that experience and be the same. You can't be normal, whatever the hell normal is. You just can't, because first of all, there's so many things that happens. You're taught to lie, you're taught not to trust, you're taught, you're forced to keep secrets. So all of that manifests in ways that you just one cannot just imagine unless you've gone through it. Because for me, in my life, this manifested in so many ways, and in addition to dealing with all of that, I also have a chronic illness that I was born with. And one of the ways this showed up for me is that the stress of it all, not being able to talk about it, would trigger a crisis. So, and my not trusting anyone, it affects relationships, it affects, I have two beautiful boys. Now I'm a mother.
Speak up, stop right there. How old are your kids?
7 and 3, very young. 7 and 3.
Where do you take them? Do you take them to your sister's house or to your mom's house?
They're only allowed to go to my brother's, but they stay home. If it's not with me, they're with my mom. That's it. We don't do sleepovers, we don't know. No, and they know, they have their own little mantras that they have to repeat every day before they leave their house. But with all of that said, unfortunately, we live in a society that I honestly believe only prayer, only God can spare the children if we don't come out and do something more, be more active and more, because Julie had 2 beautiful daughters, and
Do you have them do sleepovers?
They're adults now, 28 and 26.
While they were
No, so while I was vigilant for, you know, and protecting them from folks outside, not allowing them to do sleepover, having friends over, it happened at my sister's house by my sister's husband. So it wasn't a stranger. It wasn't a stranger.
that's my point.
All right, wherever you turn.
Yeah. It was my uncle, it's not a stranger. We teach kids about stranger danger, and when the majority of cases are by people they know and trust.
It's the prevalence of domestic abuse.
Yes.
Right there in the home.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to ask this. If all of these things are not settled or not clear for you, or still affects you, how do you see your way out?
How do you see your way out?
Why I'm answering the question, there are lots of things that happen to us in life, and we have dealt with them, and so we have that word experience that is in the dictionary, true what it is. I have an experience. But having an experience doesn't mean that we are stuck right there.
Yes.
It is there, as an experience so that we know that's not the route to go or that's not the best way. But from what you're saying, it's as if it is
Still there.
No. I was
That's
using
why I
that
asked
as
the
a
question.
reference. I'm
Thank
happy
you
you
for that.
asked that because no, I am not there anymore. And because now I know better, my experience doesn't define me. And that's one of the things that I think we can all agree on. You've gone through it, and I just mentioned the fact that I can't say I'm happy I went through it. I'm thankful, however, that if it was going to happen to anybody, it happened to me, because even though it took me a long time to get here, I know I had the tenacity, the willpower, the fight to get to the place where I can say, you know what, you tried this, I realize you tried to break me, but I'm not going to allow that. In addition to that, I know for a fact that that is not going to define me. It happened to me, it is not me.
Frankly,
You
I can only
understand?
ask you this question. Going to America, what if you were still living in Jamaica? Do you see a difference between the experience that we have here with these two ladies and with you moving to America and living there?
No, I don't see a difference. I honestly don't see a difference. The only thing I can pinpoint that would make a difference is that I actually spoke, and it's not my going overseas, it's what happened, the circumstances that led me to talking. The only difference is that between us is that I went into therapy. Like she went into therapy as well. I don't know if you've gone through therapy. Oh, you have, Keisha?
Sure.
Okay. So then there is no difference.
Have you been to therapy?
You see, that's the thing with Jamaica, like when you go to therapy, everybody think you're mad, that's why everybody has everything bottled up, you know, in them, and nobody wants to go get help. No, seriously, but people become judgmental, like when you're dealing with things like this, and you say, listen, I like really need to talk to somebody, automatically you're mad, as a psychiatrist.
And that's how you know that you have to build up that inner strength to deal with whatever.
Right,
Because
so everybody just hide it and say, all right, I'm going to deal with this one only because you can't take another stigma on top of what you're dealing with.
What did you want to say?
What I've come to realize with my own experience and moving to St. Anne and starting another chapter of my life and speaking out about my experience is that when you talk or when you speak about it, and statistics proves that 1 in 3 women have been sexually molested in some shape or form. And when I stand in my church and I talk about it, I'm ridiculed. And now I understand why I'm being ridiculed, why I was ridiculed, is that persons are suffering from the same thing. They're battling with it, they don't know how to come out and speak about it. So I may say that I'm going to therapy because I want help with this situation and I don't know how to deal with it. And then say, what do you go sit down, what kind of therapy you need? I'm a man. Because they have not dealt with their situation and they're wondering, oh, me survive, so you can survive, you don't need to go and therapy, because you're crazy.
But they have not survived, that's the whole point.
No, they just survived.
No, they
Well,
haven't.
survived
Yes.
in the sense that,
Yes,
but they're not over it because you see, they have never talked about it. And you see, that's why I think so many people in Jamaica just so angry because so many things happen to them and they just, that split second, they snap and you wonder like, why?
And it's hard when you find out that the man that you look up to, even though he wasn't really there, and he was a bit protective, he was very protective of women as a child. And you found out that your father, the grandfather, the great-grandfather, like generation, all the men in my family, they are child molesters. You kind of sit back and like, wow.
Well, it's pervasive, and I think that's also something that we're beginning to understand that. So when we talk about the men as the perpetrators, we tend not to pay a lot of attention to the women who are connected to those men, their daughters, their wives, and the other women who see them as upstanding men or what have you. And they are now traumatized because they have to go through the fact that you have to look at your father as a molester, as a child molester, or something like So you've ripped away all the emotions that you grew up as a child with for your father. And that's a whole other experience.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you, but that I do understand, if only they would understand from the perspective of the victim. Because I myself experienced exactly what you're talking about when I started speaking. Of course, some of my relatives that this man's children and grandchildren, oh, they bashed and they were brutal in the comments and the threats and I understood it. But then what they were trying to do is trying to tell me that I need to shut up. No, you don't understand the pain that the victims have to deal with. And I understand your trauma now having to deal with the fact that yes, your father is a pedophile, he's a pedophile, but at the end of the day, that was his act.
Right,
and I do know it's difficult, but...
And part of it is the conversation that needs to take place within the family, because that healing has to take place within the family. So you're absolutely right.
That's almost so futuristic, right? We're sitting here saying that it has to take, and that's almost next generation. I think we have to just write off a certain generation because it's
not happening.
Never happened.
It's not happening.
I know they're not.
It's not going to happen. So we need to start educating future generations to have that open dialogue and do preventative and not just teach the girls about, you know, good touch, bad touch. Teach the boy them to respect the gal. We need to start sensitizing the boys that cross the line and their consequences.
Women need to do that.
Absolutely.
Those boys.
Absolutely.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do now. We're wrapping up, so I'm going to take a minute. Each of you take a minute and give me your final thoughts, whatever it is that you want to say in this 1 minute. Start. Go ahead.
Writing and speaking work wonders. And even if you don't speak, start where you are. Start where you are. For me, when I started writing, my writings became a book titled Baby God Was Busy, because that's what I said.
Oh, yes. Yes,
that's what I said.
busy.
He was busy.
Yes.
He didn't protect me.
Right.
But start where you are. At least acknowledge. First acknowledge, because we're wounded, right? And we walk around and not realize that, yes, this is where it's coming from. So let's first identify and acknowledge that we are abused and that abuse is manifesting in ways beyond our control. Once we acknowledge, then we can take next steps to healing and therapy actually works. Therapy is God saying, here my child, your prayers are answered. So please go to therapy.
Or may I see you know?
May I see you know? That's it. Therapy works. So you're not mad. And for my sisters who want to seek therapy, don't care when nobody wants to say about you. I hear self-care. Don't care what they want to say. It's self-care. So this is what I want to say. All right.
Larissa.
My final thought, I can't stress it enough, is talk, speak, find someone, there must be someone you can trust. Find someone and start talking. I know, especially in this culture, it can be trying, but it is my belief that that is honestly the way, the first step to healing. As Julie said, you acknowledge, you have to accept it happened, because there's nothing you can do. You can't go back and retrace the step or wish it away that it never happened. It happened. We have to accept it, and from there, what is it that we need, and go in that direction. But again, I strongly believe in speaking. We need to start talking. You don't have to do it on a forum like this, but find someone and start talking.
As you speak about speaking, I encourage persons out there to listen. The people who are speaking need to know that you are listening. And we need to become good listeners. We need to become that shoulder that people can lean on or can. I can't stress it enough. I'm at a place where I now know my truth and I live my truth. And I leave that with people all the time. Know your truth, live your truth. It's about you, free yourself. You did nothing wrong. As my person, you have done absolutely nothing wrong. And once you take that in, you believe that, and you can step out with boldness, all is well. So we need to speak more, and we're asking others, please listen and talk about it.
Thank you. Tisha?
Yeah, picking up from her, I was just about to say, people need to listen and have some compassion and not ridicule people. No, seriously. Stop ridiculing people when things like this happen, because sometimes it's the words that come back when you actually say something that why everybody try to bury things, and you don't know how much this person is dying on the inside. Sometimes they just need you to just listen, even if sometimes you don't really have anything to say or you don't know what to say, just give an ear. And stop covering parents seriously. Mothers, grandmothers, stop covering for whoever it is, whether auntie, uncle, brother, sister. Well, I don't care. Stop doing it, because when you do that, you're making more damaged people in the world. Because the more you cover, the more damaged person you have going around, and they become violent after a while, they become depressed, people kill themselves because of these things, they cannot handle it because nobody will believe them. Please.
Shatter the silence.
Shatter the silence.
Yes, shatter the silence. And I believe that's where the healing starts. As you said, you can write, you can draw, everything. But until you open up your mouth and speak your truth, it is just there and remains there and eats your way. And parents, guardians, whoever you are, start the conversation in your homes. I believe if you start the conversation in your homes, because I believe that my aunt was molested, and if she had spoken to me about it, I would have been more aware of what was going on, and I would have been more open to sharing my experience with her. So we just need to talk out, just speak out, and trust me, do not settle for the box or settle into the box that society has created, where we have a rape culture and we keep silent. I've chosen to come out of the box, and when you come out of the box, great things can happen.
There's no going back. Free.
Yeah, feelings buried alive never die. Because a lot of persons are experiencing all manner of pain and things, but they have chosen not to talk. Yes. But I believe that everyone can find somebody to share. If they search hard enough, they'll find somebody to share their thoughts, what bothers them, that some kind of healing can take place. Yeah. And for those of you who have had the experience, you are now what I would call wounded healers. Meaning you were wounded, you've been hurt and everything, you have gotten over it, getting over it, and now you can become persons who can help to heal others. So as the process continues, let us all just think about it, and well, I'm going to leave Fi Mi Jamaica to talk. But our own awareness creation is something that we have been doing from churches to wherever.
You have your minutes.
Yeah, before I go into just to say quickly that the conversation, I mean, we ended on this note that we have to talk, and sometimes the words are not so clear. When people have been abused, you're not going to hear, I've been abused, help me. It's not going to sound that way. Yes. And I remember you talking about that when you said to persons, I don't want to talk about it. And you were making the point that that's exactly what I wanted. Mm-hmm. So you'll hear words like that, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to tell anybody to know about it. But the fact that she verbalized it to somebody, which is your point, I heard you make it was an excellent point, means that you need to listen. So we have to look for these red flags. Part of what we do in the Fi Mi Jamaica Project, this is our USAID funded project, what we do is bring awareness, and we talk about red flags, the things we have to look for when we notice that people are not behaving the way they perhaps ought to be, inappropriate, that excessive crying in the car. You heard signs of it. If we are attuned to that, then we don't treat it as misbehavior. We don't treat it as a pick me rude, that you investigate and you create an environment in which trust can be built. That's a big part of it. People don't feel they can trust that the information that is shared is not going to be ridiculed, right?
You know,
And people
to
feel-
that point, even the kids, when you ask them, why don't you go to your guidance counselor? Because I'm going to chat my business.
Yes,
There's no-
exactly.
Kids are like,
Confidentiality,
yeah,
absolutely. So all of that has to, and we have to look out for that. But I think the point is made, we have to speak.
And parents, please believe your kids, because if you don't believe your kids,
Mm-hmm.
you're telling them that you raised a liar. And that's a reflection on you. So when the kids in this comment say, your boyfriend, your husband is touching me, please believe them. Don't put them putting them out and keep this scumbag. Those are your kids.
Can I just add to that, just to wrap it up? For all the children that may be listening or may catch this program, it is not your fault. Whatever you've gone through, whatever you're currently going through, trust and believe. It is not your fault.
I want to thank Dervat Malcolm from Power 106. I want to thank Marlon. You know, I didn't get Marlon's last name.
Burke.
Burke. Marlon Burke. I want to thank, what's my cameraman?
Rhone Johnson.
Rhone Johnson. Good evening and thank you. And Kimon Gooden behind the scenes. And I want to thank you, lovely ladies, for taking care of me this evening. You were soft on me. But yes, I so appreciate it. I interviewed Queen Africa one day, and she said to me, you know, Leo, a lot of men go around married to women, in relationships with women, and women acting strange and they don't understand why. They're married to a man, and it's not like the man is out there flirting around or screwing around, but they can't get any sex from the woman. You know, they touch them, they run, and those are indicators. So she was saying to me that those are indicators that there's something happening, and you must have a discussion.
Can I have a quick piece on that?
Yes.
Because there are lots of times, you mentioned somebody age is 12, 13, that age group and promiscuous, that is another red flag, that they have been sexually abused.
Right, okay.
When women and men cannot get together in relationships sexually and otherwise, it's also an indication that the woman was sexually abused and still have that feeling, which is alive and have difficulty relating to.
Having you somewhere again on my air on my show or something. I'm not playing Keisha's song. It's my bumper tune. So thank you for sharing your real personal story with us. I hope that the people who are listening have learned something and we have created some kind of awareness out there. And I'm sure that I'll have another chance to talk to you. Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Now make them win. Now make them win. Now make them win. Tell them start back from the beginning. Now make them win. Now make them win. Now make them win. Tired of being a victim.